I have never been an RCB fan. And in fact, watching all those RCB fans running around for the last 17 years being like, RCB is the best team, they're going to win this year, has been really funny. But you know what? After watching them make it to finals this time, I actually think this is it. I think this is the year that they're going to win that trophy. And here's why. First, let's talk about RCB themselves. What is different this season compared to the last 17? Well, the first thing is that they actually set out to make a balanced team unlike other seasons. RCB is usually the type of team that spends a lot of money on 3 to 4 really good players. Good example of this would be the few seasons where they had Kohli, De Villiers and Gale all on the same team. With a team like that, you almost always guaranteed to get into playoffs. So it's actually not a bad strategy. You are guaranteed to get into playoffs, and then because they're such good players, if they perform on playoff day, you have a very good chance of winning. But it causes a few issues. The first of which comes in team composition. If you spend a lot of money on a few good players, it leaves you limited in buying the rest of the players that you actually want. This is not to say you can't get good players for less money, but RCB isn't known for their scouting like MI is. And what that means is you end up getting a team that doesn't quite have a well-rounded bowling attack or a well-rounded middle order that is able to save your team in case your star-studded top order does fail. A good example of that this season would actually be Gujarat Titans. Out of the top 3 run scorers, Sai Sudarshan is at number 1. Shubman Gill is at number 3. And because of that, they actually pretty much walked into finals. They chased 205 against Delhi Capitals without losing a wicket. However, this creates an over-reliance on your really good players. And when they fail, the rest of your team comes under a lot of pressure. And keep in mind, the rest of your team are not these high-quality players which you've been able to buy with the limited funds that you have. These are players who may be good, but perhaps don't have as much experience or as broad of a skill set as your star players. So if you put them under pressure, it's almost always guaranteed to fail. Which is why you'll see teams like this will most of the times make it to playoffs, but they will lose because when you start going up against teams that are just as good as you overall, because they have to be to get into playoffs, then you can't just bank on a few players. It has to be a team effort. And this brings me to the second point of what is different, which is actually a result of them building a balanced team. It is that they have actually filled a lot of roles in their team composition. And they have a balanced team that does not rely on 1 or 2 players. They have 9 different man of the match winners in their team. That means that 9 people out of 11 have contributed to winning a game. And this is very good for any team that goes into playoffs because this means you don't have to rely on your star players, Kohli, Phil Salt, to succeed. Even if they fail, you know that the people coming after them will get you to a score that your bowlers can then defend. Now, let's get into the specifics of their squad and see what actual strengths they have because of what they've done differently. The first is an opening partnership that I think is perfect because they complement each other perfectly. Now, Kohli is Kohli, very good batsman, and I think he has everything he needs to open. In fact, he's even been batting faster this season and the last few to keep up with modern T20 standards. But what does Kohli need to succeed? Because we know he's all capable of batting fast, but he's not always able to do it. This season, he has been unable to do that because of Phil Salt. Phil Salt is a very aggressive batsman and he's able to score fast with remarkable consistency. What this has done is that it has taken a lot of pressure off Kohli. And then from the other end, when you look at their middle order, it's very solid. They have Mayank Agarwal and Rajat Patidar, who are batsmen with techniques good enough to steady the ship in case Kohli and Salt get out. But you know they can go very fast if they have to. Patidar plays some magnificent strokes. And we'll get to the middle order more, but the point is, when you have a very aggressive batsman on one end and a very dependable middle order along with very deep batting, this really frees you up as a player. And Kohli is the type of player who can win you entire tournaments, but he needs to have the freedom to do so without the pressure of, do I have to score fast? Do I need to make sure I don't get out so people after me collapse? And that is one of the things that they've done very well. This is what I was talking about with the team composition. It's not just about having the best 10 players. In fact, at Purdue, there's a team that I think has like 20 really good players. On paper, they should always win. But the problem that happens when you have just good players without thinking about the team composition is, with 10 openers, only 2 of them will actually be able to play well. The other 8 are not in their preferred role, and they won't be able to play the way they want to. And with this, you'll realize that it's very hard to win against a team that knows what their roles are and is able to do them at their stage of the game. This season, with Phil Salt, who goes very aggressive in the power play, uses the field very well, Kohli is able to have almost no pressure on him, and this allows him to bat very freely. And in fact, I think that's why his strike rate has been fairly high this season without taking as much risk. And this start is what enables their middle order to bat with even more freedom. Mayank Agarwal and Rajat Patidar, such beautiful players, great technique, capable of big runs. When you give them a fast start, they're able to take a few balls for themselves and actually get set. They don't even need that many balls, but if they do, then they're able to really unleash their stroke making. I think Rajat Patidar, I've seen him play some of the most beautiful shots that look like they should be in test cricket, but they end up going for 6. It's a weird thing I'm trying to explain, but you'll see this when you see him bat. He plays shots with such nice technique and such clean power that he will do a lot for India one day. And with these two, you know you're guaranteed of not collapsing. And on top of that, you don't lose too much momentum going into your power-packed finishers, which Liam Livingstone, probably one of the most brutal hitters of the ball today, he comes in at number 5, which means most of the times he's coming in a situation where he doesn't need to worry about stabilizing the ship. All he has to do is get his eye in and get going. And after him, there's Romario Shepherd, another big hitter. Krunal Pandya, another big hitter, and he's also a lefty, so sometimes they use him to keep up a left-right combo against left-hand bowlers. This is what I was talking about with the team composition. You have players who are very good at the role that they need to be, not just the best players overall. These are very good players for what RCB needs them to do. And after that, let's say in the last few overs, you lose a lot of wickets, you still have Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who is actually a surprisingly good batsman. He's gone Team India out of a lot of tricky situations with the bat sometimes. And I think with this, their batting order is very solid. And the best part is lots of different batsmen have won them games at different times. So this means that if any one or two of them fail, the other 5 will definitely be there to try and cover up. Then the next thing we come to is their bowling. Now, RCB usually does not have the greatest bowling lineup. They've bought good bowlers before. They've had Stark, they've had 1 or 2 very good bowlers, but it's usually finishing out that bowling lineup where they struggle. This season, that is not the case. They have very experienced fast bowlers, Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Josh Hazlewood. Now, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, what a beauty. New ball, you're getting wickets. And he also has a lot of tools at the depth. And on top of that, Josh Hazlewood. His T20 success is something I should actually make a video on, because he's not a typical T20 bowler, but he's learned how to leverage his height, get that extra bounce from good length and just before. And because of that, he's actually been able to have a lot of success in T20 cricket. And the best thing with these two is they have a lot of experience. And when it comes to finals or any playoff games in general, experience matters a lot. Staying calm under pressure. These are both players who've had a lot of experience and will definitely know what to do in whatever situation they face. And after that, there's Yash Dayal. Now, when I saw Yash Dayal get hit for 5 sixes by Rinku Singh, I thought his career was over. But not only did he survive, he's come back a stronger bowler. He swings it both ways. He's a lefty, which always helps. It gives their bowling lineup some variety, which is very important. And then he also has a lot of variations as well. So he learned from that experience. And I can tell you this much. A player who fails and comes back is someone you want to have in a playoff team, because you know that they won't give up at the first struggle. They will keep fighting till the end. And in playoffs, with 2 very good teams, the games usually go on till the end. After that, when you come to their spin lineup, I think they've got very good bowlers to round their bowling attack out. Krunal Pandya, he's like the definition of a T20 spinner. He's a left-hander, of course, and he comes and he bowls fast and flat. His hard length balls are good. He even bowls a bouncer from time to time. And what this means is, it's the perfect setup for a T20 situation. Your fast bowlers bowl in the power play. Sometimes Krunal Pandya does as well, but in this season, I think he's mostly bowled in the middle overs. Your job as a spinner in T20s is not to get wickets most of the time. Your job is to bowl in a way where you stop runs and then the batsmen get out trying to hit you. And that is what he's perfect at. And then after that, Suyash Kumar, he's a more younger player. He actually bowled very well in their last match against Punjab Kings. And the thing with both of these players is they're very good T20 spinners, which is exactly what you want. And because of this, they have a bowling lineup that knows what to do in most situations and has enough skill to where they can actually adapt. And of course, experience is always going to be good in T20s. And that's why I think this is the main difference between previous RCB squads. They have a full team with lots of balance and everyone knows what role they have to play. Now, there's only one weakness I can see in this RCB squad. It is near perfect, which is that they don't really have a bowling X factor. And what I mean by that is someone who bowls at like 150 or someone who's just really at the next level. An example of this would be Bumrah at MI, or someone who, if let's say the pitch is very flat in the final, perhaps the target is decent, but they need to go at like 9 runs and over. In that situation, you need someone who can actually burst through the opposition and create that X factor. They have a very well-balanced bowling attack, but I think if they're missing anything, it's an X factor, someone who can change the game for them if needed. But there's no guarantees that that needs to happen. And on top of that, with the experience that their fast bowlers have, and even Krunal Pandya for that matter, it is always possible that they use that experience and create that breakthrough anyways. So that was all about RCB. Let's talk about their opponents, Punjab Kings. And oof, the way they've been playing, you can see they deserve to be in finals. Punjab Kings is also doing a lot of things right, which is why they've come so far. So let's talk about their strengths and weaknesses. Their batting is absolutely splendid. Their two openers, Priyansh Arya and Prabhsimran Singh, oof. It's like having two Phil Swords. Both of them like to go hard at the ball, and Prabhsimran has been in such a red-hot vein of form this entire tournament, no bowlers would want to bowl to them. And then the good thing with that opening combo is, whenever Prabhsimran has failed, most of the times Priyansh Arya has been there to still give the team a decent start, and he's won them a game as well, which is what I was talking about with RCB. You want to have multiple people winning you matches, not just one or two players. Now, after that, what a middle order. Josh Inglis, hard-hitting batsman. He can take down any bowler who bowls to him. And after that, you have Shreyas Iyer, who after that performance in qualifier 2, he'll be feeling very good. This gives them a middle order that is actually very aggressive as well. And this means that no bowling team can actually rest easy after they take the openers out, because Josh Inglis will not stop. Shreyas Iyer has made some technical changes as well, which has allowed him to bat much more freely than he sometimes did. And the short ball is no longer an issue. So the real question is, where do you bowl to these guys? After that, we actually come to, I think, the most important part of their batting lineup, which I think is actually their finishing. They have Nehal Vadhera and Shashank Singh. And I must say, last season, I actually saw Shashank Singh and I think Azutosh, I forget his name. These two guys, oof, what batting they did. And the most important thing about their batting is they're batting under pressure. Pressure is something you'll always face in a playoff. And the way that Nehal Vadhera and Shashank Singh bat, they are well equipped to deal with that pressure. You will not be out of the game as long as they are there. And these people handle pressure so well. In fact, I think they thrive under it. So even if Punjab, let's say, bats first and loses some wickets like they did in the last game, I think they will have learnt and they will definitely be able to steady the ship and also counter-attack, which I think is one of the hallmarks of their batting. Shashank Singh and Nehal Vadhera, they're both very counter-attacking batsmen. Like, you'll see, whenever they're under pressure, you expect batsmen to, settle down, take a few balls. They will do that, but they'll also hit back. And what this does is, as a bowler, you never really feel settled even after taking a few wickets. You imagine taking a wicket or two and then the guy comes out and 2 balls and he starts hitting you for 6. It's this dependability and this feeling that, they can always hit at any moment that has made them so good. And after all of that, finally comes Marcus Stoinis, who's a proper all-rounder who's played for Australia at the highest level. And then Omar Zai, who's played for Afghanistan. He can also hold a bat. So this means they also have a very solid batting lineup that goes very deep. You can never really count them out. And then we come to their bowling. I think their bowling is a very well-rounded. And in fact, they have one thing that RCB doesn't. They have genuine match winners in their bowling attack. They have Yuzvendra Chahal, who has come back very strongly, let's just say that. He's taken a lot of wickets. And he has a lot of experience himself when it comes to dealing with pressure situations, pressure games. And they have Arshdeep Singh, who's been doing so well recently. His growth has been phenomenal. He's also a left-hander, which you never want to face in the power play with a new ball. And to round it all off, you have Kylie Jamieson, who is very tall and very fast. This is that X factor I was talking about. Even if the pitch is flat, he can extract bounce and he has that X factor to create magic. And after that, their supporting cast is also very good. They have Vijay Kumar Vishak, who's actually a very handy medium-fast bowler. Marcus Stoinis, who's proven himself at the highest level. And then Omar Zai, who's actually a very interesting prospect. And what this means is they have a very varied bowling lineup. They have lots of options and the captain never minds having options. They have someone who's there for every situation. The only weaknesses you can see with this squad is that they've actually not been to playoffs that often, which you can also say about RCB's squad. But a lot of players on the RCB team have a lot of experience. And while Punjab also has a lot of experience, I'd say their experience is slightly less as a whole. Not not looking at any one or two players, but as a whole, even Arshdeep Singh has not had as much experience as Bhuvneshwar and Hazelwood. So you can see that this is a very solid team, and these two are the teams to make it to the finals. So we've looked at both teams individually. The last thing to look at is their head-to-head. And looking at their last 3 matches in this IPL, you can see that RCB has a slight advantage. Now, the last match that they played together was actually qualifier 1, and in that, RCB got Punjab out for 101, and then it was a fairly simple chase from there. And you can see that all of these matches have actually been somewhat low scoring compared to the average games in the IPL, partially down to the pitch, but also because of both of these teams' bowling lineups. Since they're very good bowling lineups in high pressure matches, in my opinion, it's usually bowling lineups that perform better than batting lineups. And this is why I think this final will not be a really high scoring one. I think it'll be probably like a 170, 180 game, maybe even lower. We'll see how that goes. So when it comes to advantages, I'd say RCB have a slight advantage because they actually have won more games and they won the last game they played, which was also a qualifier. However, you have to realize that Punjab, after losing the qualifier, had to win to come back. And whenever a team wins under pressure, they feel very motivated. So you best believe that morale is very high at Punjab Kings dugout. And what this means is it's going to be a cracker of a final. So the last thing I want to talk about is my prediction. Who do I think is going to win? And you know what? I think I have to say RCB has the upper hand here. Regardless, it's going to be a very close game. And whoever wins, it's going to be a fun final to watch. So let's see if I was right.